Hello and welcome back to another episode of Come Back Stronger, where we bring you stories of people who have overcome significant odds and gone on to help other people come back stronger. I'm Dana Brooks of Fasig Brooks Law Offices, and I'm joined today with my law partner, Jimmy Fasig. Jimmy, we've got a good show. It's going to tug at your heartstrings a little bit, but this is one of those shows everybody likes because we get to talk about Make-A-Wish Foundation. So we've got two segments here. Our first interview is going to be with Caroline Petrone and her little girl Caroline, who's 7 years old. And unfortunately, Caroline was diagnosed with a very rare condition. It's kind of a cancer-like, but not necessarily cancer condition that it makes her body attack its own organs. And that happened at 2, and it was so scary for any parent, as you might imagine. Yeah. And she had to go through some.
Parents' worst nightmare.
It is. You want to go through that. You don't want your babies to do it. And Kerri is, just the kind of mother you would think she is, and you'll see that in her story. But her daughter had to go through chemotherapy, and then unfortunately you'll learn that she had a recurrence, but she wanted to go swim with the dolphins. And so Make-A-Wish made that possible. And then in our second segment, we've got Kathleen Hampton. She's been a prior guest on us. She used to be with Oasis Center for Girls, and now she is director.
Her own Come Back Stronger
She
story.
sure does. She's been on here before. You're going to want to go back and get that episode if you missed it, but she's director of development for Northwest Florida Make-A-Wish Foundation. So she's going to tell us about how awesome that program is, how many people it helps.
Yeah, I love it. There's nothing, I always say there's nothing that can help you better than helping someone else.
Oh, all day
and
long.
Make-A-Wish Foundation, I mean, we're talking about helping children who have gone through the worst kind of suffering. So I love it. I'm excited about today.
Yeah, and then, another thing is a lot of people think the Make-A-Wish is for children who have terminal illnesses, but it's really for children who are experiencing a critical illness, something very serious where they're taken out of their normal life and they don't get to do the things other kids get to do, and this is trying to make that up for them and give them a once-in-a-lifetime experience they can share with the people they love. So I can't wait to come back from the break, and we will hear from Kerri and Caroline Petrone. And we are back. We're going to talk about the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and particularly this one little girl who's going to absolutely charm you. And she's going to talk about her journey. Her mother's here with her too, and she's going to talk about what they've been through and how Make-A-Wish was able to give her a good, happy ending to everything. So take a look.
Caroline, Kerri Petrone, thank you so much for coming out today to be a guest on Come Back Stronger. We're so happy you're here. And Caroline, you're 7 years old, correct? Yeah, beautiful young girl. But I understand that she had some health issues as a youngster. Can you tell me a little bit about what was going on?
Of course. So around the age of 2, we started noticing some issues in her mouth, her gums, and we went to several doctors and appointments trying to figure out what was going on. Her teeth were loose, and finally we ended up at an oral surgeon's office. And obviously this is just kind of like a bite size of what happened, but she ended up being diagnosed with Langerhans cell histiocytosis. And we went to, we were told it could be, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Leukemia or lymphoma. And that was obviously heartbreaking for us.
Yeah, it's got to be a very frightening possible diagnosis.
Yeah. So we went and got a biopsy done, and I think we had to wait 7 days or so until we got results. And it ended up being this rare disease that we've never heard of, which was, in a sense, a little bit more difficult just because I didn't really, we did not have a community at the time to turn to, and that's kind of where we ended up at Shands after that, which was great. That's where we came across Make-A-Wish and the Ronald McDonald House, and she ended up going through a year of chemotherapy, and she was good for about 6 months after that. And then it came back and had another six rounds of chemotherapy, 6 months. And now we've been about 3 years free, and it's been great. She's dancing, and we're just enjoying everything, all of the things that you take for granted.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the disease is?
I'm sorry.
That's all right. No, that's...
So basically, Langerhans it's a cell disorder, and your white blood cells are attacking your own body. It acts a lot like cancer, which is why they treat it with chemotherapy to stop the growth of those cells. It can attack your bones, skin, any major organ system. And it was really hard to diagnose because it can be ear infections, which, kids have all the time. She had 2 sets of tubes when she was younger. And so we didn't really think anything of it until it presented in the mouth. And it was just a small bump on her gum. And, most parents would say, oh, okay, we're just going to go with it. But then when the tooth started getting loose at age 2, you're like, that's weird. That's not really supposed to happen.
Yeah. And that's got to be the hardest thing with a rare condition like that, is you're learning as much as, the doctors, they're not looking right away for that. So you're just trying to find any loose thread that you can pick up on. So I imagine as a young family, that's just as wrenching as can be to just sit there and not knowing there's something wrong.
It was.
But not being able to put your finger on it.
Our biggest thing while she was going through it is like, we're going to stay strong. We're not going to let her see us sweat. We've got this. There's no question. We've got this. We have to have this.
And of course, I said I want to use this word correctly, that it's remission. I know you have to keep going back in periodically for checkups. Is there a danger of it possibly coming back, or you feel pretty comfortable now?
We're starting to feel more comfortable. The first time that it came back, because we got so used to getting those calls from the nurse saying everything's good. And when it came back the second time, because they said, when it comes back, the chances go up that it could come back again. And then the further away you get from that time, the less the chances are. So, we got so used to getting those calls saying, oh, everything's good. And then the one time it was the doctor, and I was like, oh, wait, why are you calling me? And so, that was
a second gut punch.
Oh, it was blindsiding for sure. I remember calling my husband and just saying, hey, I don't know, I lost it.
And then you had another course of chemo and all that. How did the chemo affect her at such a young age? I know she doesn't remember any of it, but I'm sure it had to have some debilitating effects. Yeah,
the eating. She was immunocompromised. We had to do finger pricks at the hospital once a week, I think, and to check her blood cell count to make sure, see if we could go out that week and stuff. And it's crazy now because we're going, we just went through COVID, and it's kind of how we had to be then too. Kind of being in our own little bubble for a while. She couldn't eat certain foods. For instance, this was the craziest thing for us, I think, was raw vegetables, like no raw vegetables. Everything had to be, it was just crazy things that you don't think about.
Yeah, you would think to a kid that'd be the best thing.
But anything that could be contaminated with anything, it was like, off the table. Yeah. And just not being, I think she missed out on a lot of social things. Yeah. She couldn't go to school.
So I know that after all this that you had been going through, you and your family, the Make-A-Wish Foundation came to your family and did something very special for you and said you had a wish. What was your wish?
To go swim with dolphins.
Swim with dolphins? And you went and you did go swim with dolphins, didn't you, over in Pensacola? And what else did you do on that trip?
I went to the zoo. I went on the boat ride to go see dolphins. And I saw other animals at the dolphin place.
What kind of other animals?
Seals.
Seals?
Alligators. Giraffe. Bunnies. Lemurs.
Can you tell me a little more about it?
Did you get to hold the lemurs?
Yeah, they liked my hat because the lady said they liked neon colors.
Oh, you were wearing a special hat?
What
they
else
liked
did they
it?
do to your hat?
They liked it.
So, Make-A-Wish, how did that impact the family? Did it give Caroline the strength to keep fighting? How did it help the family, move forward? How important was Make-A-Wish coming out to you and giving this?
It was a great great thing for us after going through everything that we had been through. It gave us hope. And again, just not taking anything for granted, and just, made it even more special that she's healthy and we could do the trip, and just celebrating all the things that we've overcome as a family, and just how strong she is. I mean, it was great. And we made lifelong memories. I will never forget that trip that we took.
So Caroline, I want to thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad that you're able to be here with us today. And thank you and your family for coming out and being guests. And lovely young woman, I wish the best for you going forward in the future. And I hope all your dreams come true.
Thank you so much for having us.
How adorable. Caroline is such a sweetheart. But just think about this, after having gone through this terrible, terrible struggle, and they were able to give this to their daughter, and what a lifelong memory that she's always going to have.
Yeah, she's never going to get rid of that neon hat.
Yeah,
She'll always remember that hat.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what, this show is about coming back stronger. And one thing that I think is important when we have faced challenges and we've overcome adversity and we've come out on the other side, it is important to celebrate.
Yes,
it's important to celebrate.
Reward
that.
yourself.
And that's what I loved about this story, is that the Make-A-Wish Foundation, they gave her that opportunity to celebrate that she had overcome now the second round.
Yeah.
And so she looks great. Hopefully she's on the other side. And I feel like this is the kind of thing that everybody can get behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Now, how much you want to bet that little girl grows up to be a doctor?
Oh, that's
Happens all the time.
Now that would be a great comeback story.
We'll
then we
follow
can
her.
then we can have her on again
Yeah.
and say, you use the challenges that you face to motivate you to become a doctor, maybe caring for people that have rare diseases like she has.
Yeah, or a counselor or a social worker. You find that a lot of times with people who have struggled in their lives and they get on the other side of it. They just have this overwhelming need to give back and to help somebody else not have to walk such a difficult path. So I see a lot of good things in this young lady's future, and I'm so excited for her and, of course, for her parents to have this peace of mind knowing that she gets excellent care and is enjoying her life like a normal little 7-year-old girl. But we're going to take a break now, and we're going to come back, and our producer, Greg Bird, will have our interview with Kathleen Hampton of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Stick around. And we are back for the second segment of our show about Make-A-Wish and all the great things they do for children who are struggling with critical illnesses. We're going to hear right now from Kathleen Hampton, and she is Director of Development for the Northwest Florida Make-A-Wish Foundation. Take a look.
Kathleen Hampton, thank you so much for coming back to Come Back Stronger. This is your second appearance on the show, but this is in a different capacity right now. You're now the Director of Development for Northwest Florida for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And we just had young Caroline Petrone in here as a guest, and she shared a story of going to swim with dolphins as courtesy of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Can you tell us a little more about your organization?
Yes. I'm very excited to have joined Make-A-Wish about a year ago. And Make-A-Wish provides an opportunity for a family to enjoy one another, make happy memories, and Make-A-Wish caters and pays for and coordinates that wish based on what the child's likes are, hobbies, even a trip to Disney World, which is one of our most popular wishes. And so really what Make-A-Wish is trying to do is give a child his or her childhood back after struggling with a life-threatening illness, whether it be cancer, a blood disorder, a disability. We want to give them their childhood back so that they can keep fighting that illness, whatever that may be, and to have hope once again and plan their future.
Yeah, and this is all about future. I mean, I think there's a misconception out there that children who get a wish through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, that something terrible or they have no future. But that's not true at all. You're all about instilling hope and giving them the little boost of strength to carry on.
Exactly. Most of these children have been diagnosed with an illness that will take them to a number of treatments. They'll be isolated in their room, including the family. It's very stressful for the children and for the family to go through. And we want them, when they're ready and when they're healthy enough, to be able to experience something they've never experienced before. Take a trip to Hawaii, go to Disney World as a family. We had this one little girl that wanted to be surrounded by puppies all day, which was adorable. And so we want to see the smiles. We want to give them happiness again. And we want them not to think about what they're struggling with and the challenge they've been living with for weeks, months, and years.
Mm-hmm. You want to give them a little vacation.
Exactly.
How does Make-A-Wish identify potential receivers?
That's a great question. Our referrals come from the physician, specialist, healthcare providers, and the immediate family. And those referrals can be submitted and they can be nominated through our website. And then our team, which we have a very experienced caring team of individuals, are then provided that case to contact the physician, verify the information on the form, and then once verified, we contact the wish child and family and kind of go over what would you imagine would be your greatest dream or wish. And then we build on that wish, whatever that may be. It may be a day, it may be a week, it may be a European trip. We come up with all sorts of ideas, and kids can be incredibly imaginative.
Yeah, I imagine that can give you some difficulties sometimes. That's got to be within reason, but you try your best to...
We do, and we pay for everything. So, because we want it to be worry-free, positive experience. We don't want them to pay for anything. And we put together the itinerary, we reserve the rooms, we come up with the activities and attractions they'll participate in. We buy the airline tickets, rent the car, everything from soup to nuts. And the community comes together when we do this to support them. So that's what Make-A-Wish has been doing since 1980. We're worldwide in almost every country and have chapters in every state of North America.
And I imagine that just an incredible resource to draw from if you had, you're in Northwest Florida, but somebody wants to go to Disney World or Disneyland in California, you've got the connections over there that you can do that.
Absolutely. And we work with other chapters in other states because there are kids here in Florida that have never seen snow. So they may want to go to Colorado or Utah or Wyoming or go to a ranch and ride with horses and go hiking. They've never done that before. So we work with what's called a Wish Assist program so that we can provide those opportunities and collaborate with other states to ensure they have a positive experience.
So how can people learn more about Make-A-Wish?
Individuals who are interested in volunteering, contributing, and or becoming a partner can go onto our website, which is www.wish.org/CNFL, which is Central Northern Florida, the Florida chapter. Or they can contact me directly.
Somebody does want to become a partner. What does that entail?
If someone wants to become a corporate partner, they would then find a way to invest in our mission long term, which would be somebody that is looking to adopt or contribute or invest to more than one wish for a child and family. And so I would recommend contacting me directly. There are various ways to do that, either through monthly donation, quarterly donations, or becoming a sponsor of one particular wish in their community. Right now, there are 24 wishes waiting to be granted just in the Northwest region of Florida. And our chapter is in 45 counties. Last year, we granted 306 wishes. And we have a strong team of about 10 individuals who coordinate and execute positive experience for these families.
So I, as a private citizen, could come to you and say, I wish to become a sponsor.
Exactly.
And you would put me with somebody who needs it, and I would help that become a reality.
And I would try and and have the individual who's interested in investing in our mission be part of the wish, meet the child and family, understand how their investment is going to change and impact the life of that child and family.
Mm-hmm. So Kathleen, want to give us the website one more time?
www.wish.org/CNFL.
All right, and I'll have that on the bottom of the screen as well. But I do want to thank you for coming out here.
Thank
I want to
you.
thank you for everything you're doing to help these young women and men make have their wishes come true. So
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Together, we can create life-changing wishes for children with critical illnesses.
I can't think of a better way to end it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. I love Kathleen. I need to make a correction, though. She was formerly with Pace Center for Girls, not OASIS, although they both do wonderful things in our community to help women and girls transition into the people they're going to become. She's just a wonderful person, and she walks her talk. She's experienced loss. She's been on our show before. She lost her daughter, and but she spends her life helping other people.
306 wishes in 45 counties locally. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is a lot of children that have had great experiences after having gone through the worst possible experience that they or their family can imagine. And they include the families too.
That's important.
Yeah, the whole family is involved in this wish. For example, I have a local friend that his daughter had was diagnosed with leukemia. And so they decided to go to Disney World. And so they took the whole family to Disney World. They were first in line for every single ride in Disney World. They rolled out the red carpet, and it was an absolute experience that they will never ever forget.
And you're so right, because it's as important for the parents as it is for the children, because children are naturally happy little creatures. When my daughter got some treatment, she had a significant medical problem, and she was treated at Shands for several years. Not Shands, Shriners in Tampa. We go back and forth, and I would see these children. Some of them are American children, some of them from other places. A lot of them have burn problems, orthopedic problems, but the children were completely joyful. I mean, you felt like you were in just a happy center. It's the parents walking around with the weight of the world on their shoulders. So this Make-A-Wish thing, it's great for the kids, they love it, but man, does it really help restore some faith and some hope in those parents caring for those little children. So I just love everything about it. We're gonna take a break and we'll be back to wrap up after this. And we are back wrapping up our show about Make-A-Wish Foundation. And we heard an interview from Kerri and Caroline Petrone and her little girl, Caroline. She went through a couple of rounds of chemo after being diagnosed at 2 with a very rare disorder, kind of like cancer, but not quite. But they went through it. And then at the end of all that, this little girl got to go swim with the dolphins and see lemurs and all kinds of animals. And she remembers that. I know she'll remember that the rest of her life. And then our second interview, of course, was with Kathleen Hampton, who is with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And she let us know how many of these children who are struggling with critical illnesses get that bright light at the end of their treatment journey, and how awesome it is to provide that.
Well, my big takeaway about the Make-A-Wish Foundation was that it's about hope.
Yes.
It's about hope for the future, and it's about providing that positive energy, that happy situation, that experience that the child may never otherwise have had, so as to say that this is what the future is like. The future is not going to be like this pain and suffering that you've just endured through this horrible experience. There's more to life on the other side. I love that. I think that means a lot and is so important. Well,
most of what we try to do with our children as they're growing up, other than prepare them to be functioning adults in the world, hopefully. But we're trying to create a bunch of memories. That's really all we're doing. Is we're trying to say, remember this whenever you don't like me when I tell you you can't do this in high school or college. Remember, I'm the one who took you to swim with the dolphins. But you really are just trying to make memorable childhood events that will take them with them and give them that foundation going out into the world.
Well, life all comes down to a series of experiences.
That's exactly
And if we can take some painful experiences and replace them with joyful experiences for a child, then we've done a great job.
That's a win. That's a win. I hope you enjoyed this show as much as we did. I hope you'll join us next week for another episode of Come Back Stronger. And if you know someone who would be a great guest, reach out to us. We would love to have them. See you soon.